So, do you need a CFO or a controller? That's what we're going to explore today. Hi, I'm Teresa Clark, and I'm a seasoned CPA with over 25 years of experience dedicated to serving 501c3 nonprofits. I've worked inside the organizations as a CFO, and I've worked external as an auditor of nonprofits. I bring a unique perspective to your financial journey. So I hope you'll jump on and explore my website. Learn more at teresaclark.com. Well, the short answer is you need both a CFO and a controller. So, how are these two positions similar? Well, first of all, they're both working towards the same goal, which is the financial aspect of funding your nonprofit. So, depending on the size of the organization, you may currently only have one, but both sets of skills are necessary. So, let's talk about how they are different. A CFO is an executive level individual who is probably, in conversations with the executive director and the board on a very regular basis. They have insightful evaluations of the current financial realities. It's almost like numbers talk and tell a story. They see those stories and they can articulate them back just from looking at summary financial statements. The next thing is that they are a very forward-looking and strategic team member. They're always looking for ways and helpful at the table to find a way to achieve the vision and the goal of the nonprofit. So what's the controller? Or maybe in some organizations, they're called the accountant. Some even further may call them just the bookkeeper. So however you want to look at that, this is a mid-level leader, sometimes even lower level that moves up. They are hands-on. They're looking at managing the transactions, the policies, and the procedures. They're also responsible for the timing and accuracy of the financial reports. So they are producing the financial reports that summarize the results. Well, as you can see, both of these are very important and both are needed. But there are normally three phases I see nonprofits go through that relate to these two positions. The first one is kind of the get by stage. That's typically common when you have a startup nonprofit. You have someone who maybe is an office manager who starts to manage the bookkeeping. And then maybe in that season, you're outsourcing someone who's helping to summarize transactions, do financial reports. So that's often kind of phase one is kind of where we start, how we get by. The second phase is when you get to a place where you really realize, okay, we need staff who are focused on finances. And you get to a place where you've got someone who can do the financial reports, but they don't have the skills to do that strategic level, forward-looking vision work. And so this is the point at which I think it's often common to look at nonprofits starting to say, how do we get a team member like that? The challenge, of course, is the budget, right? And attracting someone with those skills to work inside of your nonprofit. Those two things don't always align. Now, the third phase, let me say this real quick, is when you're big enough to attract, to pay, and to then hire your own CFO. So how do you know if you need a CFO on your team? Well, three things I think you need to consider. First is complexity. When you have multiple funding sources or programs and income streams, you're starting to get to a place where you're probably going to need someone who's thinking strategically. In a season of crisis or of growth, you've got investment management decisions, debt managing, staff strategies. Things are moving and you need someone who can help you make those decisions and make them timely. And the third thing to consider is the size. No hard and fast rule here, but I will say that typically when I see a nonprofit who's at $1 million in their annual operating budget, they're needing these skills at the table. The complexity is real and the opportunities are endless. You don't want to miss them. Also, I think at this point, key stakeholders, board members, they start to want someone who they know is in the organization, working for the organization, who's working at this. Now, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes you're at a place where hiring that person may not be possible from your budget standpoint or from even attracting them based on the challenges and the amount of the workload. So this is exactly what I do. I serve in what's called a fractional CFO role to multiple nonprofits. They hire me when they're in need of these kinds of things. and are not yet to a point of needing to hire their own. And so they kind of get a CFO, well, they get a CFO with all the skills and experience, actually multiple decades of experience, and they are paying a fraction of what it would cost them to staff that, as well as having access to me on a fractional basis. So that's a little bit about what I do. If you're interested, you can jump on my website and reach out. I'd love to talk further with you about that. I hope you found this information valuable and insightful. If you're hungry for more, subscribe here where you're watching, or you can check out my free resources on my website, teresaclark.com. If you have any questions, need clarifications, or just need to talk to somebody about your specific situation, feel free to book a strategic consult on my website. Be happy to talk with you. I'm wishing you great success and impact in your nonprofit endeavors. Until next time, see you later.